had a feeling. I am not sure why. I am not sure how. 2 weeks ago, I made a video predicting who was gonna win the French Open. And whereas it's pretty easy these days to pick Iga Swiatek, and I'm still sticking with that, by the way, that she's gonna end up winning the title, it was way more difficult to say who would be in the finals. And it is Coco Gauff. Here's what I said 2 weeks ago. And who of the newer people? Coco Gauff? You never know when she's going to explode, because she will. At some point, she will go really, really deep and make a final of a Grand Slam. Is it this year yet? This year's French Open? Don't know. Coco Gauff has always been a phenomenal athlete, and it doesn't take much to predict that, okay, she is going to be a world-class player and she will win some Grand Slam titles. Doesn't really take as much of an expert, I think, to be perfectly honest. But that really she would make it into the finals of a Grand Slam, and that Grand Slam, that is Roland Garros on clay? I probably wouldn't have predicted that. But what I'm going to talk about today are the factors that made her run happen. And who knows, weirder things have happened that, you know, the complete underdog is going to run away with the trophy, because from now on, it is all just cherry on top. It's still going to be a very interesting matchup. So here are the reasons why I think that Coco Gauff did so well at the French Open this year. And perhaps she's not done yet. So we know she's got speed. We know she's got the firepower. We know she's got the stamina. What was always a little questionable, I think, we can agree on, was her forehand and also her serve. So a lot of times when, over the years, you watch matches with Coco in it, you even heard the commentators talk about that. Yeah, her forehand is a little shaky, and that was a lot of time the game plan of whoever she was playing. Attack the forehand, because, you know, it has a big wind-up, and every now and then, you know, especially in tighter situations, the forehand kind of, wasn't quite there. Not so in this year's French Open. So the one thing that I noticed is that she hits it with a lot more shape, and that's exactly what you need on clay. You need to be able to play longer points. Physically, she's able anyways, but by not going for the winner immediately, by not basically using her hardcourt game on clay and trying to force that game onto the clay court, she really made a huge leap in my mind. So if you notice, when she played her matches, longer rallies, way more willing to commit to work the point. So let's look at her forehand here. The serve, also sometimes a little questionable, not as reliable. Second serve, maybe a little attackable, at least for that, you know, level that she is at. But in this year's French Open, especially when things got rougher, the serve still looked a little shaky. However, Coco never let that influence her. So just think back to the match against Sloane Stephens. She was up there, threw in a couple of double faults, and regrouped. And that speaks to what I think is the biggest change in pre-French Open, Coco Gauff, and now finalist of the French Open, Coco Gauff. Big points that don't go my way don't rattle me as much anymore. Big points that don't go my way, any point that doesn't go my way, don't rattle me as much anymore. I'm not getting as upset. And she continued to talk about that the entire last 2 weeks. I'm trying to stay calm. I'm trying to stay in the moment. I'm trying to stay present. And she cited the match that she had last year against Barbora Krejcikova, where she had set points. And she just got too tight. Things didn't go her way. She got upset. And at that level, if you're not focused, if you're not right there to play a good next point, the set was gone. This year, she's shown in several tighter situations that she could just regroup, stay present, slow it down a little bit, and actually enjoy those moments. She also talks a lot about that. Enjoy the moment. And I think all of that speaks to an incredible amount of maturity that she's gained over the last few years. Let that sink in. Coco Gauff is still only 18 years old. The youngest finalist since Maria Sharapova at Wimbledon in a Grand Slam final, since 2004, I think that was. And Coco Gauff is still young enough to theoretically play in the girls' draw, in the junior draw at the French Open. But she's playing with the seniors. So within those 3-4 years that, she had a breakthrough at Wimbledon, beating Venus Williams, coming through qualifying, and then losing to Simona Halep, I think, at the end. We've seen her grow up, screwing up plenty. And she says, yeah, I am screwing up. I'm still learning, but I'm learning. And I think that speaks also to something that she said recently is, I have realized that no matter what I'm doing, win or loss, I'm still a good person. In other words, winning or losing doesn't define me as to who I am as a person. And that is so huge for an athlete to realize, because that's what we do. And that on that, yeah, you lose, you're a terrible human being. Totally irrelevant, totally not related, but that's how we think. So for her to take a step away from that and also going like, what do I want to do? What makes me happy? What should or should I not do? She left that alone. That should, that oftentimes was other imposed. I mean, everybody, first time she stormed onto the scene, the new Serena, the new this, that, and the other. And she has to play a certain way, and she has to do this and that. And she says, nope, not going to do that anymore. I have my team, I have my family, and that is what matters. And I think the other thing that gave her some added levity, I want to call it, is to really actively try to still be a teenager. Because that is what she is. She just graduated from high school. And that, I think, is pretty cool because, yeah, I mean, she's already a multimillionaire. She doesn't have to, do anything other outside of tennis. I mean, if she retired today, she would be, I don't know, an ambassador for all kinds of brands. She could do commentary. She could do whatever the heck she wanted to do. She does not need an education per se, but she chose to do that to remain somewhat grounded into a regular life for a teen. And if you follow her on social media, she very much has an opinion on going-ons, which I absolutely love about her. She voices them. She is growing into really big time a role model, and she's still really grounded. So that's that twofold approach. I'm going to just look at me a little bit more. What makes me happy? What do I think about how I should and should not play? And then also really making the effort of having another life, so to speak, with her family, graduating from high school, going to baseball games of her brothers. I think that really provides you with a little bit of a distance. And that seems to have really done her a lot of good. The other thing that I think that has made her a much, much better player is that she continues to play doubles. First with Katie McNally, and now she's playing with Jessica Pegula. And guess what? They're also in the semis there. And that speaks to a lot of things. That A, speaks to you're a beast. You're physically performing at the absolute top, because to play both singles and doubles, sometimes back to back on one day, over a period of 2 weeks, and go deep in both draws, that's a lot. That's a lot. Has made her serve better. Definitely helps her return and her volleys, because she's now actively looking to come in, and it's not an accident when she's coming in. She's designing her points, and she follows them up with really, really good volleys and overheads. And she's also gotten a little bit more versatile with other things. Throwing in a drop shot every now and then that you absolutely have to have on clay. So I think all those factors, paired also with the ability to match up really well against all kinds of different game styles. Think about the people that she played. She played Kaia Kanepi, who is an incredible shot maker. I mean, I think no ball is slower than 80 miles per hour that Kanepi hits. She played Elise Mertens, who is an absolute grinder and nightmare to play on clay. Then she beat Sloane Stevens, and then she beat Martina Trevisan from Italy, who, in that situation, Coco was the complete and utter favorite. But she pulled that off really calm, collected, and in a super positive way. So I'm still going with Iga Swiatek. But who knows? I can be wrong. If Coco wins that one, that would be really stunning. But the last 2 weeks have shown that she's always good for a surprise.